We did something remarkable last week. We went from lead to clear to close in less than 6 hours. Not application to clear to close, not submission to clear to close, but actually lead someone wanting to get refinance to getting clear to close in less than 6 hours. And I wanted to show how we did this because, I mean, this has to be one of the fastest lead to clear to close in the industry. But before I went into the case study, so to say, of how we did that, I wanted to first kind of point towards probably the biggest pain point in the mortgage experience right now, which is that the current mortgage process is slow and unpredictable. I mean, look at the chart on the right. I mean, it's even though we all know that the turn times went up sharply in 2020, and maybe we should not judge the industry based on what happened last year because the volumes were two or three times more for most of the mortgage companies. But it's not as if we were doing amazingly well before that. It's not as if we were closing loans in like 15 days before that. As you can see, we have consistently averaged over 40 days. And this is like 2018 was relatively slow year for the industry. So was 2019, at least the early part of it. So if you can see that even when it was relatively slow in terms of the loans that we're doing or the production that was going through the mortgage companies, we were still consistently averaging close to 40 days, if not more. And that's just not acceptable. That's not what the consumers are demanding. And if that's not bad enough, the fact that we take very long, which makes the process unpredictable, borrowers also must provide dozens of documents. So that's just part of what the mortgage process is that the onus on providing all the documents, the responsibility of those fall on the customer's shoulders and not so much the lenders. They're not trying to do much to improve that. And that's why this specific case study becomes kind of very important is because it's an example that needs to be followed for more transactions because the if we are able to make the process faster and more predictable, it's of course a better consumer experience, but it's also a cheaper consumer experience. Most of the cost of producing a loan is in the operations right now. And if we take that cost of production and cut it in half, for example, because we are able to do it faster, then we can pass on that benefit to the customers and thus making the mortgages itself cheaper than what it is right now. I mean, we can't do much with the rates, and it is what it is, but we can at least reduce the cost of production of the loan and thus offer lower fees to the borrowers for doing that. So let me jump in. My name is Shashank Shekhar. I'm the CEO of Arcus Lending, and this is a case study of how we went from lead to clear to close in less than 6 hours. So let's start. Let's kind of walk through the journey. And I have, of course, intentionally hidden the last name or an email or any identifying information for the borrower. So this borrower's first name is Julia. The conversation started at 9:02 a.m. and she said, "I have received the attached loan estimate. Would you be able to match this rate?" That loan estimate was from a company called Better Mortgage, and they had provided a loan estimate, and she wanted to know if we can match it. I emailed her at 10:51. As you can see, my response time is a little lagged here. Almost 2 hours later, yes, we can match this rate and estimate. Please complete the application and the link sent in earlier, and we can get it locked for you. So we have a point of sale or a loan application on iOS and Android. So what Julia did was she was pretty quick, as you can see. I was up. It took me almost 2 hours to get to her, but almost 9 minutes later, it says your custom Arcus Lending app was just installed. Here is some information on your new user. So Julia installed the app less than 10 minutes after I told her that we will be able to match Better.com's loan estimate. 7 minutes later, she was able to submit an automated verification of assets. So again, as I was saying, the onus on providing documents being taken away from the borrower and using automation to get those documents. We are also in the process of automating the income and employment information. So in just a few days, most borrowers will not even have to submit anything related to their income or employment. But 7 minutes later, she was almost done with the application. She had submitted her automated verification of assets. She did not have to provide any bank statements. And by 11:10, she has actually submitted the loan application. So the total time commitment from the borrower in this case was from 11 a.m. to 11:10 a.m., 10 minutes total so far. And what happens after that is at 2:01, the application is already in underwriting. It says new milestones have been reached on a loan for Julia. Their contact information, of course, that's redacted here, has been included. The milestone is completed. So she completed the application, went into processing. My processor Bianca took over, and then she was able to do everything that a processor has to do: order flood cert, order payoff, order title, get the insurance updated with the new mortgagee clause, et cetera, et cetera. Everything that she had to do took her a couple of hours. I mean, she did not spend the entire 2 hours doing it, but she ordered out and waited for the things to come back, and she was able to get all this stuff, especially the payoff. She could get it online. So all of this was done in a couple of hours, that it was ready to be submitted to underwriting. Now, when it goes to underwriting, that's my head of credit risk, AJ Mendoza, saying file is clear to close. And as you can see, this was 4:13, so this was last week. I'm recording this on 4:18. So the lead came in on 4:13. It went into processing on 4:13. It was submitted to underwriting on 4:13. It was underwriting approved on 4:13. It was underwriting CTC'd on 4:13. So from the time the borrower said she was shopping, she got a loan estimate from better.com, sent me the email, to the time the loan got clear to close. In fact, if you look, I mean, if you really look at it, if we could have gotten to the email a little faster, we could have probably CTC'd this file in about 4 hours. Even my underwriter, AJ, said that, I mean, if I had received the loan faster, I would have cleared it close for even faster. So who knows, about 2 hours from, I mean, in an ideal world, if we had actually tried to time this thing, um, and this case study is after the fact, but if we intentionally went about trying to show to the world that we can do it faster, who knows, we could have done it less than 2 hours. But loan was clear to close in less than 6 hours from less lead stage. But even more important for me from consumer experience is the fact that the borrower had to spend all of 10 minutes. I mean, she did 10 minutes, plus she went online and gave us the online payoff from her current mortgage lender. So maybe another minute or two, so 11, 12 minutes on this entire thing. That all she had to do, she had to provide no other documents. And if CFPB did not mandate that you had to wait 7 days from the time of loan estimate to closing, we could have closed this loan. Literally, she could have been signing her closing documents less than 24 hours after she applied on the website, which had to be one of the industry records. But of course, we could not do that because of the regulations, and we had to wait a full week before she can sign her closing documents. So that brings me to how we did it. Of course, I mean, you understood the entire process, but really the four things that stands out here is automation. Her having the ability to download the app, do the automated verification of asset, all of that is automation. That was not the case if I was taking the application on phone or in person, or fillable PDF, all of that stuff, then it would have taken her much longer to complete just the application. There would have been no automated verification of assets, so she would have had to go and get those assets, documents, and then upload it or email it, or whichever way we did that. Our point of sale flows directly into loan origination software, so we did not have to download documents after she did it and upload into LOS, all of that stuff. All of that was seamless and automated. Ninja processing, you saw that she completed application, and by the time it went to underwriting, it was less than 3 hours. And that too, she was waiting on a few things. If she was not, she could have probably pushed it much faster. Also, the completeness of the files. It's not just the speed, it's the experience and the ability to be able to submit a complete file to underwriting to get the clear to close in one touch. And then underwriting urgency. I mean, that's a turn time, human turn time, that we are talking about here, which is how quickly the underwriter gets to the file and be able to condition it. I mean, in this case, it was CTC. It could just have been a conditional approval in some cases, but at least the underwriter was able to get to it quickly. And then finally, the culture of the organization. At Arcus, we obsess about consumer experience. It's because we are always looking to improve it. We are always trying to make it better. And that's why I kind of, and as a CEO of the company, when the consumer experience takes 40, 45 days that I see in the industry is like, why can't we do it faster? And that's what we are working on, is that everything that you see here, if anything, we are working on trying to make it better. That also brings me to my final thought, which is the fact that the mortgage problem or the consumer experience when it comes to mortgages is not just a technology problem, or it's not just a human problem. It's this kind of tech plus human problem that we need to fix. And the companies that will do both of those things better are the companies that will thrive over the next 3, 5 years, as we can see that the consumer preference is changing. So if you can build in automation to do a lot of things that does not probably require a human to do it, but at the same time have the humans who can give consulting, can give advice, can have ninja processing, can show urgency when it comes to underwriting. If you have an overall culture for obsession of consumer experience, not just by the salespeople or not just by operations, but everybody in the organization, all of that needs to come together if we want to get rid of the biggest pain, which is the consumer experience in mortgages when it comes to unpredictable service, when it comes to delayed turn times, when it comes to more expensive production, the cost that gets passed on, and the onus on the borrower to provide all those documents. If we want to solve this problem over the next 2 to 3 years, all of this needs to come together. And that's what we are trying to do here at Arcus.